Well, howdy folks, Hulk Rex here, and welcome to episode 106 from Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. Today we're going to be talking about another one of those zippy little invasive species, that Dragonfly from the clans, aka the Viper. Now, the Dragonfly is a 40-ton mech. It is a 8-12-8. It's a speedy little bugger. It actually falls more under the scout zone of a light mech characteristic than the previous two mechs that we talked about, the Puma and the Uller, which are more like gunships. This one's a scout, and it's going to be scouty stuff that we usually like to see. Getting in, zipping around. I like this little guy. It's kind of handy. It's it falls into the category, if you have a star, of light mechs that we've previously been talking about. One of these things are going to be find a nice little home, one of the configurations, and being well used as something that can do anti-scout role, or the kind of a flanker, get in behind something and tear it up. Obviously with the kind of weaponry the clan mechs carry around, they get in behind you, you're going to know it, and you're going to be suffering some unwelcome love from behind. Now, like I said, it's an 8-12-8. Got an XL engine, Indo steel. It carries around 10 double heat sinks on the engine. It has 134 points of armor, so obviously it's about maxed out. So it's armed to the teeth, and it carries a lot of armor to go with it. So this thing can get into a skirmish with Inner Sphere light mechs, or even some clan mechs of the light and medium persuasion, and still go toe-to-toe and do some good damage. Alright. Now, it does carry 8.5 tons of pod space, so it's about half of what we had in the Uller and the Puma, but you're also combining it with a lot more speed and maneuverability with those jump jets, because it carries around 2 jump jets in the legs each, right leg, left leg, and then 2 in each of the torsos. So it will get around and move pretty quickly for you, which I kind of like. It's one of those things where if you're able to, if this thing gets in a city fight, it can jump from one building to another, one alley to another, etc. If you got any type of heavy woods in front of you, this thing can bypass them. Just, it's like zoop, gone over top, and just keep on going without having any problems. Because if it thing jumps 8, that's a +3 modifier right there, and you're going to be more than happy. And if it goes a straight line and gets up to the 10 mark, you got a 4 modifier. So the odds of hitting this thing are typically like you'd find with Inner Sphere mechs of the light persuasion, except this thing has armor to go with it. So you looked at something like the Dasher and the Koshi, which didn't have a lot of armor to begin with. You hit those things and body parts go flying off. This one, not as much. It can handle some good hits. Like the right arm, it has a 12 armor, so it can take a 10-point shot and still have armor left. So it can keep going. So it's going to take at least 2 good hits to take an arm off one of these things. Now, how I always like to use these things, like I said, it's get into the flanks, and depending on the loadout, what it is, what kind of role I'm going to use with it. But typically, I like to use these things. This is the ones I do like putting in my force as something that is, I like to hunt down the lighter mechs, do the anti-scout role, control that phase of the game, because if you can keep them from getting behind you or on your flanks and force them to stay in front of you, your follow-on mechs are going to be doing a lot better, because then they don't have to worry about how they're going to be facing. They can always keep their frontal armor to somebody. And with light mechs like these, or even medium mechs like these, they're fast, and they can go out there and punch above their weight class versus an Inner Sphere mech. You're able to just keep hitting them in the nose and then pushing them back. All right, so they're going to be thinking twice about trying to get around the flank. And if you have your if you're looking at the game, you're looking at the board or the tabletop, and you can read the table or the terrain, how it's laid out. A lot of times, let's say if you're facing the inner sphere as a clan mechs, they're going to be trying to hide as much as possible because they want to close that distance so their weapons can fire, and you're sitting there wanting to keep some distance between you. They want to close because they want to be able to shoot at you. And you're going to spend some time there where you're taking advantage of your longer range weapons. All right? And that's that phase of the game where it's kind of like jockeying for position before they can get close enough. And then they're going to dive in and try to grab a hold of you and do their best amount of damage and focus fire on mechs, tearing them down, etc. And if you can control that phase, like with the Dragonflies, so much the better for you. Now, we look at the primary configuration. The Prime, the Dragonfly Prime, or the Viper Prime, however you want to call it. It carries around 2 medium pulse lasers in the right arm, 2 machine guns in the right torso for the anti-infantry work. Carries a half a ton of ammo to go with it, which is more than enough. I don't know why you would ever need a full ton of machine gun ammo. I've never ran out of machine gun ammo. If you run out of machine gun ammo, you've been playing for a day and a half, okay? And then you have an SRM-4 in the left arm with a ton of ammo. And then in the left torso, we have an anti-missile system with a ton of ammo to go with that. I love anti-missile systems. Beside the point was that when they're shooting at you, you can knock down. It's like until that ammo bay is dry for you, you can just keep knocking stuff down, keep the damage down off you, either knocking down the SRMs or the LRMs that are shooting at your target, which is you. Kind of like that. So in this one here, you're looking at something that is kind of like, it's almost a jack of all trades, but it does have aspect of it, of that anti-scout role, where you're doing as an interceptor, getting behind stuff with those pulse lasers, because if you got those jump jets on you, you can jump behind somebody, unload with the 2 pulse lasers with only a +1 to hit because you jumped. So the odds are your pulse lasers are probably going to hit something, especially if you got a good pilot in this thing. Now the SRM-4 and the machine guns, that's a crapshoot right there. But you got 25 shots with the SRM, and you got 50 shots you can have with the machine guns. So you're never going to run out of machine gun ammo for a course of the game, so that's not a big deal. And if you run out of SRM ammo, you shot all 25, you've been playing for a long time. That's probably a pretty decent long campaign where that thing's been surviving. Now, I've had times when I'm at like Gen Con or other conventions and stuff where you might get a game to go 20 turns, but that's far and few between. Now, the alpha version, which has an ER medium laser in the right arm, 2 ER medium lasers in the right torso, an SRM-6 in the left arm with a ton of ammo. We have Artemis with that thing, so okay. And then 2 more ER medium lasers. So you're looking at something that's carrying around 5 ER medium lasers and an SRM-6 with Artemis. So with the Artemis, you're going to have +2 on the cluster chart. Okay, that's kind of handy in a way. I don't necessarily would needed it. Well, sounds like the fire department's going by. The maybe had put another double heat sink on it instead, but your mileage may vary, however you think about that. Because, all right, so you got 5 ER medium lasers on that. That's 5 times 5, 25. And if you run, that's 27. You're going up 7 on the heat scale, and then you're forced to either using jump jets to get out of the area and then cool off or something. So that's not necessarily a good deal, but it's one of those ones that if you run up against, let's say, clan elementals, that would be something that could really tear up elementals pretty quickly. You know, to think about that in that way. So you can kill off some elementals. You know, you might, if all 5 hit, you know, you can kill off 2 if the SRM toss that in there. So you're barbecuing your pilot, but you might be able to take out 3 elementals along with any type of other fire that's coming from some other mechs. So that might be one of the uses. Or with the movement modifiers that you can get with this thing, or distance you can rip out for 12. You can get into a flank of, say, some type of slow-moving mech and then focus fire down through the flank and tear up, doing 7-point shots. That's something you can think about there. So it's not a bad configuration. It's just that I would think personally would have moved at least one more heat sink or so on there to knock some of that heat down. Alright, the Bravo configuration has a small pulse laser, a flamer, an ERPPC, and another pulse laser. So you got a couple of small pulses, so if you get in behind somebody or into a flank, moving around, so if you jump and then you have the pulse lasers, yeah, you can have a better chance of putting a couple small shots into somebody's rear. And then now the PPC, that does 15 heat, and then if you run, you're not going to be heating up. So that could be your sniper, a fast-moving sniper that gets in there, run around the flank someplace, get into a position where it can start to shoot, like say down alleys, out of heavy wooded areas, etc., and tearing off big blocks of stuff. Now, if you get a light mech, let's say Inner Sphere Persuasion, gets hit by a ERPPC from the clan, there's usually going to be body parts being blown off, because that's 15 points of damage, and most Inner Sphere light mechs can't handle that. So if you're doing it as a anti-scout role, that could work pretty decently too. Even though the alpha version might be better at it, it's hard to say. And it comes down to personal preference in some ways. Alright, the Charlie version has 2 machine guns, right torso. We got ammo, and a ton of ammo in the right arm. I'd rather just do half a ton and take a ton and make like a small laser or something instead. Carries around 2 flamers in the right torso, 2 ER medium lasers in the left arm, active probe for finding hidden objects. You got 2 machine guns in the left torso with 2 tons of ammo. So we got 3 tons of ammo, machine gun ammo, when you're better off. You could have just had 1 ton and got away with it. And then another flamer. So this thing is a something that would be used really good for taking on inner sphere infantry. So you got all those flamers and all those machine guns. You hit an infantry platoon with one of these things and you hit, it's gone. There's nothing left of it, because you can't handle that many machine guns and flamers all at the same time. That's a lot of dice of damage. You're talking 2d6 for the machine guns and 3 or 4d6 with the flamers. The platoon's going to disappear. You can do 28, 30 points of damage real quick, nothing flat. So with that many dice tossed out there. So that one is a anti-infantry one. You go in, find it, like say you're playing a game or scenario where you have hidden infantry around the board, and this active probe's going to find them. You can just say, oh, there's some over there. Go run over there and unleash with the flamers and machine guns, and then nuke them. You might take a little bit of damage, possibly, if they hit you, but it's always good for you, not good for them. Alright, Delta version. We got 2 medium lasers in the right arm, an LRM-5 in the right torso with a ton of ammo, a Streak 6, yes, in the left arm with a ton of ammo, and then an ER small laser in the left torso. So you got a couple ER medium lasers, which are equivalent, almost the same as a large laser in inner sphere, and you got LRM-5, so you can do some indirect, not much. Gives you something to do. At least out to 21, and then before you can get in close with the medium lasers, which are out to 15, and then we get into 12 range, and you can start tossing in that streak. So it's kind of like a fire and forget. It's like, oh, didn't fire, don't have to worry about the heat from it. Oh, that fired, okay. And then next turn, worry about what to do about heat configuration. But you know, you can dissipate 20. So you're looking at 10, 14. Yeah, it's not much. You're not going to have to worry about heat with this thing too much unless you jump. Now, if you jump, do an 8.8 hex jump, yeah, that thing's going to get a little hot. Alternate E echo configuration. We got ER medium laser, right arm. We got a right torso is an ER small. We got an ATM 6. Okay. With 3 tons of ammo to go with it. So with that one, you have one of each type of ammunition, and then you can just keep hitting your target pretty hard, you know, depending on the type of well, ATM, this depends on the circumstance of what you want to use. If you want to be able to shoot way out there, long extended range, hit a target from way out and about, okay, you can do it. Gets in closer, you hit them with the medium. And then when they get in really close, then you hit them with the short range stuff. Then you got a near or small in the left torso. So that one is with that ATM 6. That's kind of a... I always look at that one as a sniper. You can sit back and do damage to somebody. Or, you know, as you're kind of a mobile, and that one's only that's 1560. That's got a pretty high battle value for the size of it, but overall it's not that bad. So it could be something that you just run into a position and then start unloading from long range while not having to worry about somebody shooting at you. Because if the best they have is, say, an ERPPC or LRM, so if you stay out of 21, and then let's just say you've parked yourself in some heavy woods out past that, and you can unload a ton of ammunition from long extended range before you have to even close, before they even able to even do anything to you. You know, that's one way to look at that one. Alright, then we got the F configuration, Foxtrot, which has 4 heavy machine guns, a machine gun array with a half-ton of ammo. We got ER medium laser, 4 heavy machine guns, a machine gun array, and that's the left arm, and then a left torso, an ER medium laser, and ER medium laser. So once again, we got something with a lot of machine guns. This thing can go in there and just decimate infantry pretty quickly. Or you could use it on battle armor. You know, you'd be doing little plinky shots on them, but you know, you can do some damage. It's mostly against conventional infantry, so that's kind of an infantry hunter also. G configuration, 4 AP Gauss rifles with a ton of ammo and a right arm, plasma cannon, adding some heat. Heavy medium laser, and this is getting later in the stages of the game, and a light active probe. So this is one of those ones that just kind of is kind of a scout anti-infantry type deal. And then H configuration, heavy medium laser, ER medium laser, small pulse lasers, double heat sink, medium in the left arm, medium laser, heavy medium anti-missile system, left torso, ammo, 1 ton ammo, ER medium laser, left torso, and ER pulse laser in the left torso. So this one is falling more under the anti-scout, go in and knock somebody down, or it can't with the heavy medium lasers. You know, you're looking at something that can knock the socks off some medium mechs or even heavies, and do some good damage with it. So for ton, you know, it's punching above its weight for the amount of weaponry it can carry for tonnage versus the Intersphere. And then we got the last one, looks like the India. Heavy medium laser, right and left torso, light active probe, targeting computer, heavy medium laser, left arm, ATM 3. With 2 tons of ammo, anti-missile system with a ton of ammo, and that was running about 1500 battle value. That one with the targeting computer, to me, that tells you it's like either you're going to knock down scouts quickly, or you're going to be hitting medium and heavy mechs pretty hard, really quick. Hit him a flank, tear him a new one. You know, that's pretty good with that one. Now, if you're inner sphere and you're looking at this thing and it's coming at you, I'd be kind of worried, because you're looking at something that's running around as fast as a Jenner, mobile, being an 8-12-8. It can get around. It's going to be really hard to tag it and get some damage to it. And this thing has plenty of armor to go with it. So your best bet is you have to whittle it down. So try to put in blocking forces. If you get yourself a whole bunch of light hovercraft that are really cheap, any type of vehicles of that nature that move really fast and they can set up a deployment zone around, and forcing, say, a mech to maneuver, which isn't really easy when you're talking about a Dragonfly, because it has a jump jet. So it's going to be a tough haul to take care of one of these things. And the only way you can hope that you can tie this thing down is if you force it to move before a lot of your other stuff moves. So if you have a whole bunch of cheap vehicles and stuff like that, some extra pips that you can use to burn up the initiative sink, and enforcing, because the clan will have less mechs always than compared to inner sphere. So if you're using a whole bunch of lighter, cheaper stuff quickly, and you're just like, oh, move here, I'll move here, move my infantry over here, and you're using up all of the initiative sinks, so you're forcing them to say, oh crap, I gotta now move the. So unless they win the initiative, so they got the last move, it's going to be really hard for them to not move it, and then you can surround it. Ramps, like take a hovercraft that's doing an 8-12 hovercraft or something, and use it as a ballistic missile. Take out a leg or something, by a ramming. I've seen that one done. I'm not a big using my vehicles as a ballistic missile, but it can be done, especially in a close game. So there's many ways of looking at how to slow these things down or fixate it. But overall, the Dragonfly is a pretty good little mech. Doesn't have a lot of firepower compared to some of its lighter cousins, but it will do the job. It is something to fear. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy this one. This is Hellcrex, and we will see you in the next one.